working food coloring into any dough by hand, I would highly recommend putting on disposable gloves before you get started and cover your work surface with wax paper or some kind of other protective paper. I'm using Wilton's icing color in the shade of pink. I'm adding the food coloring directly onto the dough with a palette knife. You can use a toothpick, a fork, a spoon, whatever you prefer. And I know I want to get a vibrant color, so I'm starting with quite a bit. And you'll see I'm literally just folding in the color by hand into the dough to work it in. I'm not satisfied with the color I have here, so I'm going back in with my palette knife and adding more color directly to the dough once more. And again, just folding that dough together, working the color in throughout the dough. And now you can see I start to knead the color directly on my work surface, which is why this paper covering comes in handy to protect my cutting board. And just keep working the color in until it is the look and the overall color that you were going for. For a marbled end product, this is how you want to work the color into your dough. However, you certainly can have a solid colored dough by mixing well the colored dye into the dough, and I would suggest you do this step when you're initially making whatever dough you're using, whether it's the cookie dough, short crust pastry, pie crust, you name it. Happy with that overall look. Dusting the top with flour here just so that my rolling pin doesn't stick. And I'm going to roll this marbled pink dough out to prepare it for my heart cookie cutter. When you're rolling your dough, you can give your dough a little bit of a quarter turn every so often, and that just keeps the work that you're doing even throughout. Specifically, if you're rolling a pie crust, to keep the overall shape round by turning it every so often. Our pink marbled pie crust dough looks perfect. Now all we're going to do is take our tiny little heart cookie cutter and make the most out of this dough by cutting as many little hearts as we can out of it. I was making a tiny Valentine dessert, a pie crust square filled with raspberry jam. And you can see that I had it point side up on my board, and I folded each side gently over the jam, and then I folded the bottom up to make our cute little envelope. And the finishing touch is our heart that we spent time on. Now I would recommend next time piping some of your filling to glue the heart really well on, but that is the beautiful finished product. Before placing into the oven at the cooking temperature your dough calls for, I would highly recommend brushing your pastry with an egg whitewash or a milk wash. I sprinkled mine with sugar. However, next time, again, on the heart itself, I would not sprinkle with sugar because it did brown in the oven, which normally is beautiful. But in this case, I wanted to keep the original color of the heart. Happy baking!